Yo, what's going on, everybody? So today I want to have a real talk conversation with some of you guys, right? I want to talk to you guys about who I personally feel is hands down, arguably, undisputedly the worst villain in Naruto. And I know somebody's gonna say, oh man, this dude hates Kaguya. It's clearly gonna be Kaguya. I was very tempted to go with Kaguya as the worst villain in Naruto, and I could argue that if you put a pistol to my head, keyword, if you put a pistol to my head, I could argue for that. But in the bottom of my heart, I feel like Toneri's the worst villain in Naruto. Hands down, this is the worst villain. And I'm gonna explain to you guys why I feel so strongly about this. So I just wanna say right away, right? Like, in order to understand why I so seriously dislike Toneri as a character and what he provided as an antagonist, you have to go all the way back to 2014. So when the Naruto manga was coming to a close, all right? You had a lot of people, myself included, and I'll be the first to tell you, definitely myself included, who looked at the introduction of Kaguya and said, where was this foreshadow? Why is she building an army? Who the hell is Kaguya scared of? I don't understand why we switched from Madara to Kaguya. I don't care. I could give two flying fucks about what Kaguya was as a princess in Japan. I don't give a fuck. You can take that lore and shove it up your ass. I don't give a fuck about it, alright? But when you look at that, right, you get this one moment where as the Naruto manga's winding down and Kaguya is taken out in a volume in a couple of chapters. She wasn't around for a very long time. And when you get the announcement that you're getting Naruto the Last, and you find out that it's going to introduce Natsuki as the main villain of the story, you're thinking, okay, now we're going to get an answer. We're going to understand why Kaguya was afraid. We're going to get this huge understanding of why she was afraid, why she was building an army, okay? Now, those of us in the present, we know that she was actually afraid of Momoshiki and Kinshiki, Urashiki, and the clan leader. However, at the time, we had no knowledge that Urashiki, Kinshiki, or definitely Urashiki even existed, right? We had no knowledge of that. And so when you went into Naruto the Last, you thought that you were finally going to get an answer to what the manga kept stating, beating over our head over and over, that Kaguya had to build an army. And just to put this in perspective, right? Like, I can't stand Kaguya, but I'll be the first to tell you, when you look at what she was doing in the manga, Kaguya was pulling out some insane stuff. She's creating pocket dimensions. She's manipulating gravity. She's got jutsu that are instant kill. Like, Kaguya was severely overpowered. And people were saying, like, why was she creating an army and she's this powerful? Why is someone who was revered as being the goddess of the verse, and that's what a lot of people were calling her at the time, the goddess of the verse, because she was the mother of chakra, why did she feel the need to create an army? And so when Naruto the Last came out, there was a perfect opportunity for us to explore the Souichi clan. There was a perfect opportunity for us to dive into what Kaguya's motives were. And instead, I know, we got the whole love triangle with Naruto and Toneri and Hinata, right? We got that love triangle, but at the same time, I'm okay with the fact that the last was a love story, but I'm not okay with the fact that they used Toneri and they had all this potential with the whole thing with the Tenseigan and the connection with the Hyuga clan, and we're getting so many answers to questions that we had brought up in the Naruto series early on about what makes the Hyuga clan so special. And we find out that, oh, if you take Hyuga's pure eyes and you put it into Natsuki, that you awaken the Tenseigan. A lot of people were happy with that. And yet at the same time, look at how Toneri was used. He was literally only put in the story in order for Naruto to realize that he has a thing for Hinata. And instead, you get Toneri who's put there, and Naruto transitions from Sakura to looking over at Hinata like, yo, I like those creepy purple eyes right there. Can't wait to get me some of that. Oh, this Toneri guy's in my way. And they end up fighting. And every single interaction that Toneri shows up, Toneri in the movie version is portrayed as being a lovesick puppy. He's portrayed as going after somebody who has no intention of giving him the sugar walls. And Toneri had went so far that he was planning on wiping out all life on Earth and then repopulating the Earth with Hinata. Like, Toneri was planning on making some sweet sugar wall nut busting action. And when you take that into consideration, that was the true purpose of his character. Not cleansing the Earth, that was just a byproduct. I really feel like you could argue he was just using that as an opportunity to smash Hinata multiple times over until he wore out a sugar wall. walls. But every time this dude shows up, he's pitted against Naruto, and it's because Naruto's trying to get back to Hinata. When you get the whole thing with Hamura and the side branch of the Souichi clan, even when you get that, it's still being put in relation to a freaking love story. And when you look at this, when you look at the tone going into that movie at the time, if they would have taken that opportunity for us to actually have Toneri have a true motive that wasn't directly linked to Hinata, if Toneri would have had a true motive that would have built on what Kaguya was doing, now we could appreciate him as a villain. But if you look at why he came to Earth, it was total bullshit. I have no problem in saying that I think Toneri was bullshit. I think that using him as a plot device to put Naruto and Hinata together so they can give us everyone's favorite prodigal son and favorite main character, Boruto Uzumaki, I think that was poor writing. I really think it was poor writing. I think that Masashi Kishimoto made a terrible choice when he hired those shoujo writers to handle a majority of the script for Naruto the Last, and then he went back and proceeded to make all these tweaks because Toneri was handled like a shoujo villain. He was handled as being the final obstacle that prevents Naruto from getting with his soulmate. That was complete bullshit. I think that was a terrible idea. And the other part of that, the other part of it is when you look at the battle with Toneri and Naruto, I'm okay with the fact that Naruto, when he's fighting against Toneri, Naruto's in complete control. What I'm not okay with is the fact that Toneri, while he's fighting Naruto, it really feels as if he was fighting for the acknowledgement of Hinata, and then they weave in all these little small notions of Naruto embracing his feelings for Hinata when he picks up that scarf and talks about how many feelings and emotions went into making it. It was something that made me gag. It's something I wasn't too happy for. When you look at what the Boruto anime is trying to do with the whole thing with the Jogan and Toneri's role and everything that happens with Momoshiki and Kinshiki and how Urashiki tells Toneri that it's against the clan's rules in order to take the life of a clansman, you have all this information that's being introduced, and yet when this is being brought to us in Naruto the Last, it's not anything that's dropped at our feet. And they had to take Boruto the movie as an opportunity to start answering the questions that the Naruto manga had. And yet when Naruto the Last was being marketed, it was being promoted as the final chapter. And then a few months later, we're told, oh no, Boruto the movie is going to be the final chapter. And we're finally going to explain why Kaguya was afraid. I mean, I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. And I know some people are saying, so you think this guy is the worst Naruto villain simply because he was used for romantic purposes? And I'll say you're damn right, because I think that Toneri had a lot of wasted potential. I think he had a lot of wasted potential between the Jogan and maybe explaining some of that. I know they hadn't thought that out when they made Boruto the movie, but a little bit of foresight could have done wonders. But I want to know from you guys. I really want to know from you guys. What do you guys think about Toneri? Do you think that he is the worst villain in Naruto? Do you agree with me that using him for romantic purposes was probably the worst idea? Or are you fine with how he's portrayed? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all into the end. Have an awesome day, guys.